we are now going to tackle the scariest thing that breaks all beginners, bar chords. Now, if you guys are wondering, are bar chords hard? No, they are not. They are absolutely super, super easy. There's two things that you just need to know about bar chords. I'm going to go through them in a second. But once you know them, you are absolutely going to crush them. And you're going to be like, oh my God, Luan, how did I not know this first? I'm absolutely killing it now. And then you're going to be playing all these songs and you're going to become famous and a rock star. And then you're going to be like, I attribute everything to Luan. Anyway, that is like big fantasies, but hopefully it happens to you guys if that's what you want. Now, my name is Luan. I'm a professional guitarist. I graduated from Berkeley with a scholarship. This is a lesson from my guitar course. It's part of our free music school, and I'm here to give you guys practical music advice I wish I had to help you guys crush it and hit your goals in music. Now, let's go back into bar chords. Now, there's two things that you need to know that every beginner, I'm not going to lie, any beginner that comes to me that's always like, man, I struggle with bar chords. They're too hard to do. And I'm like, well, have you done these two things? And the first thing is, have you set up your guitar? Now, if you don't have a guitar set up and you are like, Luan, what do you mean by guitar setup? There's a bunch of videos I have at the very beginning of my guitar course that go about like how you should like buy your guitar, get it set up, do all these things. But basically, go to a guitar store and say, hey, I need a guitar setup. And what they're going to, and you're going to say, hey, I want light gauge strings. I want very light gauge strings. So I use 11s on my acoustic. And then you want to ask them, I want to have a very low action. So what that's going to do is I'm going to make the strings really easy to push. And because the strings are going to be so close to the fretboard, any way you go up the neck, especially if it's been set up correctly, will be even feeling, quite even feeling, and not like when you play at the lower parts of the neck, it's a bit easier, and then up here it's like monstrous. Like you see actions that go all the way up here. It's like impossible to, like I struggle to do bar chords on them. So that is like the very first hack, probably for a lot of you, because a lot of people are actually really good at playing guitar. And they just, the setup of the instrument holds them back completely. So straight away with bar chords, that is your immediate fix. If you look at your guitar and you can see that the strings get further and further away from the fretboard as you are going up the fretboard, you can just like look at it like this. If they keep going further and further away, that's a sign that your action needs to be like realigned, and that is making your life even harder. And if you're playing an acoustic guitar, I would recommend 11s if you're new, or even 10s if you want to get really, really light. A lot of standard acoustic guitars come with 12s on them, and those are really brutal for people to play. If you're on an electric guitar, standard guitar strings are usually around 10s, or you can bring them out to 9s. And like if you go to a guitar store and you say, some guy on YouTube said, I need 11s on my acoustic guitar and I need a low action, they'll know how to help you. And if they don't know what that means, then that is a really, really bad guitar store, and it's probably a violin store, and you need to leave and then go find an actual guitar store that will help you out. So now we're going to go into the next part, because that is all you need to do. That is probably going to solve, I would say 90% of y'all's problems. If you guys are, you're like, I've been trying, you would probably know all the stuff I'm about to tell you next. But if you don't know the stuff I'm going to tell you next, we're going to go right into it. So there's 4 chord shapes. 4. In fact, there's actually 2 chord shapes that cover 4 chords that then cover every chord on the fretboard that you'll ever need to play. So bar chords are really, really, really simple when you break them down to their core systems. Now, if you've been playing beginner guitar, you have probably played an E chord or an A chord, and these are the 2 chords that you're going to use that are then going to allow you to play every chord on the fretboard, and you're going to be like, oh my God, Luan, this is so easy. So we're going to start with our E shape, because the E shape is going to set us up for the next, like the 3 important shapes that are going to happen, and allow you to play pretty much majority of like major minor chords that you need to do on the fretboard. So if you played an E chord before, it goes like this. So you got root on the 6th string, on the E string, you got open. Oh, I think my guitar's slightly out of tune. Oh well, just deal with it. I'm sorry. We got root E string, so it's open. 2nd fret A string, 2nd fret D string, 1st fret G string, open B string, open E string. And I'll try and put like a little, I'll try and have like a little chord diagram for you guys. I'm really bad at video editing, so hopefully I can help you all out. So that's all that's happening right there. Now a bar chord, all you're going to do from this point here, majority of people learn how to play an E chord like this. Now, I want to challenge you, and I want you to swap which fingers you are using to play an E chord. So instead of using a second finger on the 2nd fret A string, I'm going to move my 3rd finger up here. So I'm going to start with my 3rd finger. So my ring finger is going to go on the 2nd fret A string, and my pinky is going to go on the 2nd fret D string, and then my middle finger is going to go on the 1st fret G string. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to play my E chord. Now you can see my 1st finger is just hanging out, and my 1st finger is like, what's going on? Now, all I'm going to do here is if I want to start playing bar chords, I'm just going to slide this whole shape up across the entire fretboard. And as soon as I move away from my open shape, I am now in bar chord mode, and my 1st finger is going to bar over the next fret. So if I move over 1 fret up, I will now bring my 1st finger over the top of the 1st fret. So that's where my E is. I'm going to move this up 1 fret. Now my 1st finger comes in, and I have an F chord. Now, if I move everything up 2 frets, I have a G chord. And if I move everything up 2 frets, I have an A chord. And then 2 frets, B chord, 1 fret, C chord, 2 frets, D chord, 2 frets up, E chord. But that's awkward for me. I don't have like a really extended fretboard. But you can see how simple that is. So I just go E shape using my 3rd pinky and middle finger. And then I'm just going to slide it up 1 fret. And then I use my 1st finger to bar. Now, when I'm barring, I use my thumb behind the neck and I squeeze into my 1st finger as best as I can. And that's where you're going to get all the strength. And at the beginning, you're going to be putting a lot of effort in to build the muscles. So the trick will be squeeze till you get all the notes. And then relax till you get muted strings. As soon as you start getting muted strings, that's when that's the limit. Like, you can't be that relaxed. So you want to know what full force and the least amount of force required as possible. But eventually you'll get quite strong at this. So, but that's all that's happening right here. So if I want to play any guitar chord that where the root note of the guitar chord, so say for instance there's an E chord, if the root note's going to be on the 1st fret, that's now an F. So I just use that E shape, and I've got an F chord. And then if I want a G chord, I go to the G note here, root, G, and then I go over here, A, and then I go B, B. Really, really simple stuff. People really overthink this. Do not overthink this. If you're like, man, that doesn't make sense, rewind and watch it again. And watch it again as many times till it makes sense. Because the thing is, there's about if you get it right away, you're a smart cookie, and I'm like super stoked for you. But if you don't get it right away, just remember, there is an amount of time that it's going to take for this to click. And the second that it clicks, for the rest of your life, you will be able to play any chord you want up the fretboard like a boss. So you'll be like, oh yeah, bar chords are my thing. So just remember, there is some finite version. It might take you 1 hour, it might take you 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. I don't know how many times it's going to take you to do this, but once you get it, you've got it for life. So just remember, just pay down that I look at it as like ignorance debt of things that I don't know. So just pay down that debt as fast as you can, and then it unlocks everything that you ever want in your life when it comes to music. So E shape, that's going to unlock every single chord on the fretboard that the root note is on the low E string. So F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. I nearly stumbled on the note names, but lucky I did not. Now, so that is pretty simple. Now, are you ready? I'm going to blow your mind, because the next step is, if you know how to play an E chord, if you take the middle finger off, it's now an E minor chord. Now, all we're going to do is the exact same thing. We're going to move up a fret and bring our 1st finger over and bar the whole 1st fret. Now I've got an F minor chord. F sharp minor, G, G minor, G sharp minor, A minor, so A sharp minor, B minor, C minor, C sharp minor, D minor, D sharp minor, E. So it's like, boom. If you know the E shape, you now know E minor. And that means if you know that, then you know every single chord, bar chord shape, all the way up to the 12th fret, because it all repeats once you hit the 12th fret. As long as you know where the note names are of these ones, you can play it. So if you ever see something like a music, anything that says G sharp, you'll be like, oh yeah, I know where G sharp is. It's right here. And it's like G sharp major. Nice. I got a G sharp major chord. I can do that. Oh, G sharp minor, no problem. So I just take my middle finger off. Woo, crushing it. So that's all that's happening. So that is why we call it the E shape. It's going to help you unlock all the chords that are happening on the low E string. Now, the next chord shape that you need to know is the A shape. So A chord, hopefully you all have played the A shape before, but if you haven't, the only notes that I really care about you knowing is going to be the low A string, which is open. Then you're going to go 2nd fret on the D string, 2nd fret G string, 2nd fret B string. I don't really care about the high E string because when you're barring, especially as beginners, a lot of you are going to be missing that note anyway, and I don't really care. It only adds a little bit of spice. It's not really an important string that you're going to hear on the guitar. So that's all that makes an A chord. Now, if you saw before, typically when some people learn an A chord, they'll learn how to do it like this. They'll have all their fingers like this, or they'll do like a 2-finger sequence, or they'll do a whole bar with their first finger. Whatever you've done, you're about to forget that. We're going to grab our 3rd finger, and we're going to bar with our 3rd finger. And now from here, anytime you move up the fretboard, you just bring your 1st finger 2 frets down, and now you've got a new chord. So I started at A, now I've got B flat, now I've got B, now I've got C, and then I got C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. Really, really easy, right? So exact same thing we were doing before with the whole concept of like you build the shape and then you just shift it everywhere. That's all you're doing. Now this one's a bit harder because it's really hard to really line your hand up to get right in behind with your thumb. I don't recommend doing that. You kind of want to be anchored with your thumb closer to your 1st finger. I find that makes it a lot easier for me. And if you have a smaller hand, you might find it easier to just do your pinky instead. I have a very strong pinky because I've been playing all the time and using my pinky. But this is typically something that I will do. So if you see me playing and you'll see, oh, Luan's using his pinky there. The reason I do it is because I like to do little guitar fill stuff. So I'd be like, and that allows me to do it quite easily and use my 3rd finger for doing guitar licks. So that's more advanced. Don't worry about it. But that A shape, that's going to get us all the major chords that are going to sit with the root A string. Now the next shape, because just like how we did the E shape and it was E major and E minor, you do the same thing here. We're going to do A major, which is what we were already doing. And now we're going to do A minor. Now, the cool thing about this is, you know how I was saying, like, you only really need to know one shape and then it kind of carries majority of them except for the A shape? A minor is exactly the same. So that A minor shape is exactly the same as an E major shape, one string kind of up. So if I'm playing an E major chord, if I drop my strings down one string, I've got an A minor chord. So all my minor shapes, I already have that muscle memory. All I'm doing is, if I'm playing a minor chord where the root note is on the 5th string or the low A string, so this is A minor, and I move up 1 fret, that's A sharp minor, B minor, C minor, C sharp minor, D minor, D sharp minor, E minor, F sharp minor, G minor, G sharp minor. And that's all I'm doing. So you can see, I just learnt 2 guitar shapes, and then all I'm doing is I'm just moving those shapes up the fretboard, and that's getting me all the bar chords that I ever have to play. So if I ever look and the chord progression is G sharp, C sharp, D sharp, and they're all major chords, well, I'm going to go G sharp, use my root notes here, so I use my E shape. And then I know my C sharp is down here, and so I'm going to use my A shape. And then my D sharp is just 2 frets up. And then that's how I start playing my bar chords. And so when you are learning bar chords, that is the theory behind it. Like, that is everything you need to know to make this thing work. Now, everything after that, when you're starting to apply this to music, I would highly recommend, if you don't know how to play bar chords, don't do them all at once. Start substituting one chord at a time. Like if you're playing a chord progression and it's G, C, D, and you would normally go, maybe just do something like a G. So you can see how I'm adding just one shape at a time. You don't want to just like go straight in and be like, I threw my thumb over this. I don't want to throw you guys off. That's more advanced. We'll go into it later on, but you can see what I mean. You don't have to do every bar chord for everything. Just add open chords if you're comfortable with them. Whatever you're comfortable with, do that. Look at songs you already know how to play. Anytime you're adding something new to your playing that's like quite challenging for your hands, don't make it harder by making it a whole brand new song. So like, if you already know how to play a bunch of songs with the chords and you're like, hey, I want to get better at playing bar chords, well, just pick a song you already know how to play and be like, well, where are the bar chords to this song? And then play bar chords for them. And that would be my best advice. And that's going to build your strength up a lot quicker. And it's not going to burn you out. You're not going to be like, I can't play bar chords. So hopefully that brought you a lot of value, and hopefully you guys are jumping in and playing bar chords and crushing it completely. I wish someone told me immediately that's what bar chords were. When I first started learning bar chords, I was like, oh, well, no, that's an A bar chord, and that's a G bar chord, and I was like, wait, no, they're all an E chord. And I'm just pushing I'm just barring at a different point, but they're all the same chord. And in the future, like if you look at the future videos of ours, we've got like a whole theory course and everything, and a guitar theory course in our music school, which is free. If you haven't joined yet, join. All of that stuff there's going to be a bunch of really, really amazing chord theory stuff called the cage system. And that's going to help unlock the whole fretboard and all the theory and make it super, super simple for you. So if you know these two shapes really, really well and you're quite comfortable, you're absolutely going to blitz it when it comes to like learning really, really cool chord theory elements to help you really unlock the fretboard and be really good at the guitar and be like, hey, I'm actually a guitarist, not someone who wants to play guitar. So hopefully that helps. And I'll love to see you guys in the next videos or in the school. All right. See you guys soon.